Alright, camera's on me. Good to go. Welcome, everybody. Hi, how's everybody doing? Hopefully pretty good.
Hello.
It's a nice Tuesday for all of us together and be fine. Welcome
You sure it isn't
to the...
Wednesday?
Oh, there goes my hand. Hold on. I should probably be facing my base station. Tonight is going to be our virtual reality show watch-along. So, as you know, because we are celebrating PHIA 2.0, which also has been called the Virtual Reality Show Season 2, we figured what would be more fun than everybody sitting in the world, or if you're on stream, hanging out on the stream, and watching episodes of the virtual reality show all together. So we have ones that are on the older side, from, little baby PHIA. It is hilariously embarrassing, but also pretty fun to to go back and see how much things have changed. And of course, we have some of the favorites that have been posted within the past, year or so, and more modern virtual reality show episodes. So whether you've seen an episode before, it's a new experience getting to watch it with other people, I hope, or maybe we'll watch some episodes that you've never actually seen before, which would be pretty fun. So we have a pretty good little list. We have a playlist that we're going to be popping into the video player tonight. I encourage you to see this as kind of a fun watch-along social hangout. So please, enjoy watching the videos, but also commentating and chatting with others. If you want to laugh at my bad jokes, by all means. I have terrible sense of humor in my first few videos. I look back and I'm like, wow, I'm hilarious. Why am I not funny anymore? I don't know if anybody else ever has those moments where you look at your past and you're like, well, how was I like that? Where did it all go? But regardless, I think there's fun things for everybody to pull out of this. So, yeah, that's pretty much all to it, is just chill out, have fun, watch the virtual reality show, and just get hyped for Saturday whenever the next video with the new avatar and all of that comes out. So I don't really know what else to say besides that. So I guess if we want to get started, we can. So I don't know, like everybody, woo, yay! We love the virtual reality show. Yay!
Alright, get
It's like
your
a fun
popcorn
movie
and
theater.
sody pops
Alright,
ready.
here we go.
Hello, and welcome back to the Virtual Reality Show, where we talk about any and all things related to virtual reality inside of virtual reality. I'm your host, PHIA. Before we get started today, I wanted to just give a big thank you to everyone for all the support on the last episode I uploaded last week. I'm impressed with the engagement that the show is getting and at how many people decided to join the Discord. I hope you'll continue to show your support, and please check out the last episode if you have not already. This week's topic is on something potentially relevant to everyone watching. No matter how hard anyone tries to escape it, death comes for everyone. From Lord Voldemort, excuse my language, to Orochimaru, we see it as a driving motivation for many fictional characters in pop culture. But the historic roots date back to ancient myths like the Epic of Gilgamesh or the Search for the Fountain of Youth. There's a famous quote by Benjamin Franklin that says, "There's only two things in life that we can be certain of. 1, death, and 2, taxes." But we might need to rewrite that quote to just taxes, because immortality may become possible in our future through multiple different ways. Humans are just natural machines, but we're still machines, a working system of inputs and outputs. The human brain is the most complex machine we know, coded with A's, T's, C's, and G's, which can easily be compared to the ones and zeros used for coding devices just like the one you're using now to watch this video. So, as this new biotechnology is being developed, we start to see this boundary between human and human-made creations blur. There's practical devices like prosthetics, yes, but there's also advanced cybernetic technologies in our near future, such as Elon Musk's Neuralink, a device that connects directly to your brain and allows you to manipulate things like prosthetics or computers solely with the power of your mind. This is a transhumanist's wet dream, allowing us to replace parts of our bodies like you'd replace parts of a computer. Oh, your eyesight's deteriorating? Well, let's just replace that with the GTX 2020 Vision. Yes, a failing human body is becoming replaceable. After all, it's just a shell for your brain, and that brain is ultimately the part of you that makes you you. So how does virtual reality play a part in this? Well, something like the Neuralink has much greater potential than scrolling Facebook with your mind or controlling your super cool third prosthetic arm. It's not hard to imagine using this tech while sitting at a computer to directly control video game characters. Or imagine leaning back in your bed, hands behind your head after a long day at work to play the next inevitable remake of Skyrim with your mind. Yeah, pretty freaking cool, right? So it only makes sense to take it a step further into full dive virtual reality, where you can control your virtual body in VR with your mind. Now this might be starting to sound like the setup for the plot of Sword Art Online, and you'd be right. This kind of technology would allow for that same kind of full immersion into virtual worlds. If you've seen SAO, you're probably pissing your pants in fear right now, but worry not and throw those pants away because you're not going to need them anymore for what I'm suggesting next. Remember what I said about a body just being a shell for your brain? Well, that's where the key to eternal life exists. You could exist as just a brain outside in that physical world. You don't necessarily need a body to be alive. In fact, you could pick out your body to be anything you want. You might know where I'm headed with this now, no pun intended, which is the concept of brain in a vat. Typically used as a thought experiment in philosophy, it makes us question the foundations of what is real itself. For those not familiar, it's a theory similar in concept to the Matrix. Imagine that your brain is being kept alive in a little jar somewhere, and is hooked up to a machine that exchanges impulses back and forth to it, tricking your mind into thinking that everything around you is real and analog when it's actually digital. Now, whether or not we're even in the base reality is a whole another topic, but it's more than possible that we will develop technology capable of this potential in the foreseeable future. It's crazy to think there's an entire universe inside of cyberspace that we could migrate to, and it's completely under our control. Perhaps we will no longer fear whether or not an afterlife exists, because we could create our own heaven-like utopia where the human race continues to live on forever. There's so much to think about, and we've only just scratched the surface of these topics. It's part of what makes VR so alluring. The impossible becoming possible. The future is coming, and it's coming fast. Even if we never master the brain in a vat technology, we can keep replacing our bodies in the physical realm. Heck, scientists can grow an extra set of organs in a lab now, and are working on brain transplants. It's trippy to imagine that one day you could grow extra sets of bodies or clones in labs so that you could do a head transplant to those younger bodies every 20 years or so and stay alive forever. There's also the possibility of uploading your consciousness to the digital realm where you wouldn't need a brain at all, or where your memories could be downloaded to someone else's. There's so many concepts connected to this, and I plan to talk about them more in future episodes. But if you're interested in and want to talk about these concepts more right now, then go ahead and join my Discord, link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, then please consider subscribing to the Virtual Reality Show channel and give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps me out because your support is what keeps me going. Also, please consider donating or subscribing to the Virtual Reality Show Patreon because I'm saving up for things like full body tracking to enhance the show. If you know someone or are involved in virtual reality in any way, then please go ahead and let me know about that because I'd love to have you or them here on the show. Anyways, thanks for tuning into the Virtual Reality Show. I've been your host, PHIA, and I'll see you in next week's episode. Bye!
Oh, the treadmills.
Hello, and welcome back to the Virtual Reality Show, where we talk about any and all things related to virtual reality inside of virtual reality. I'm your host, PHIA. Last week, we had a nice philosophical talk about how eternal life may be possible in our near future. This week, I want to talk about something a little lighter, which is cute virtual YouTubers. Virtual YouTubers, or VTubers, have gained immense popularity in Japan over the past 20 years. Most of us can recognize the face of self-proclaimed first virtual YouTuber, Kizuna Ai. But don't know much more about this phenomenon besides her. If you follow VR at all, or even half of it, then you've probably at least heard the name HoloLive. But what exactly is HoloLive? HoloLive Production is a branch of the company Coverall that works as a talent agency for turning cute VTubers into superstar idols. VTubers would do all sorts of things like Twitch streaming, music production, gaming, dance videos, virtual reality shows, but there is a high barrier of entry compared to doing these things as a regular content creator. You need a good character design, extensive computer knowledge, a high-powered PC, the financial costs of tech and programs, and way more. A lot of technologies needed for full-body tracking aren't even available to the public without a company license. The resources needed to have high production qualities of VTuber currently are basically impossible without company support. But that's where HoloLive swoops in to save all the distressed waifus. HoloLive holds auditions where wannabe VTubers can apply to hopefully become one of those adored idols. Becoming a member of the HoloLive team will subject you to the following luxuries as quoted from the HoloLive official website, translated by Google Translator. We have a popular illustrator design a special character that only you can use, and provide a live 2D model so that you can perform VTuber activities. In addition to renting an iPhone XR as a terminal for distribution, free of charge, we will support you to purchase a high-spec PC by crowdfunding as needed. We will provide official 3D models to those who have become popular, 50,000 YouTube subs or more, to support distribution in studios in Tokyo. As we can see, HoloLive is the dream for any VTuber who seeks eternal fame and glory. They provide users with all the resources they need as well as exposure and a loyal fan base. Some popular HoloLivers that have popped up are Manito Aqua, Tokino Soda, Shirakami Fubuki. This is just a small example, as there's over 24 members currently, and they're still holding on to things to add. While most of the members create live 2D content, there are comedic skits that use 3D models as well as professional music videos with some pretty incredible production. My favorite example of this being Virtual Diva ASCII, who is a music-specific VTuber that releases under HoloLive's music label Inokana Music. She streams live concerts on YouTube and has some of the best music, character design, and 3D modeling that I've seen. Each HoloLive girl has an adorably engaging personality, and it's safe to say that the VTuber community has grown because of what HoloLive is doing. They even have a male equivalent now, known as HoloStars, that supports VTubing as videos. What was unheard of even a few years ago is slowly finding its way into the mainstream as the fan bases for these VTubers grow and grow. Although this phenomena is based in Japan, their audience is rapidly spreading worldwide, as HoloLive fan channels have sprouted up with the sole purpose of translating video clips into English. There's a growing interest in VTubing and HoloLive as a whole, which should continue to blow up exponentially as we proceed further into this new decade. It's exciting to watch the future unfold so quickly in front of our eyes. While making this video, I couldn't help but feel a little envious of the HoloLive girls. One day, Fia will be a virtual idol too! If you want to hear the song I collaborated with my good friend Neptune on, then please check out my vocals on a song Voyager. It's about falling in love over VR, which is quite relevant to the show. Your support means so much to me. Well, that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope you learned a little bit about what exactly HoloLive is. If you already knew, then go ahead and let me know which of the HoloLive VTubers is your favorite and why. I'd love to hear all about your thoughts on what exactly makes VTubing special. If you'd like to continue this discussion or talk about any other topics related to VR, then please feel free to join my Discord, link in the description, and we can chat there. Also, consider watching the first episode of the virtual reality show where I talk about Project Melody, the virtual cam girl who takes VTubing to a whole nother level. If you enjoyed this video, then please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, because your support is what helps keep me going. Also, please consider donating to my PayPal and to my Patreon so that I can afford things like full body travel and make the show more enjoyable. Anyways, thanks for watching the virtual reality show. I've been your host, PHIA. I'll see you in next week's episode. Bye!
I literally can't breathe. I literally can't breathe. I don't want this anymore. This is Xcode.
Oh, I have this. I have this game. Oh, you had the ending.
I was totally gonna like go film a video tonight, like after setting up the event, but now I'm like,
Playing FNAF in VR is experience from the actual games.
I'm ready to scream. I'm shaking a little bit. Oh my god, guys, I don't want to start.
I had never been more scared in my life. This is like my first VR horror game, and I didn't even
terrified. Oh my god. Oh my god, why is there 80 people here already? I'm gonna just... Everybody just wants to see me like piss myself. Oh my god, I hate guys.
She was genuinely terrified.
Probably fiddle around with rotation. Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
This game is still like the scariest VR game I've ever seen.
No.
Do you think
Not having that.
We're
scared you have a small PQ. Mine must be.
Oh no, I played it.
How good are you at jump scares? Very not good.
Not this past year, but the year
like I said, I haven't played a VR horror game, and to be completely honest, the only I don't really play horror games in general.
Really terrifying in VR.
Okay. Okay, the phone is ringing.
Terrifies me.
I think it's like a bit hard more than anything. Like it's difficult more than anything.
These characters hold a special place in the
this is
hearts
all
of
they
Again,
show
it's
children.
mostly like RNG.
Duck kids.
I'm in it time.
No! I already hate it! I already hate it! Oh no! If it's right there, I swear to God, I'm gonna be so scared.
Only night
No,
one.
nothing's even happened yet.
Oh yeah,
Have you
it
ever
is
done
like
it in VR? You can't talk shit until you've been in there.
I've done it.
Oh my God, no! Go away!
I can't believe you're saying it's only night one.
I saw something near his feet!
I've done it night 6. I did it in the nightmare version.
night 6. Okay, I understand, but night 1. Yeah, it's only like Bonnie
No!
running.
No! 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 Go away! Go away!
Oh yeah,
no!
this is when you introduced the
How the
scary
fuck am I gonna do this for a whole fucking stream? I'm freaking so scared. No, I don't want him to be there. I want him to leave. No, where's it coming from? No!
She's panicking, can you blame her?
No fear for
No! Oh my god. I literally can't breathe. I literally can't breathe. Conserve your power?
I had no fear when I played the first game.
Is this thing
but then
gonna
I
jump at
heard-
me?
Then I played this game in VR. Never again.
Oh god. No. No.
I think it was just really loud. Like the mic.
Oh,
on
this
you
is
was
cool.
sensitive, and I was screaming.
I don't really want to keep going. I don't want to do night 2. Night 2 is gonna be worse.
Yeah,
Okay,
my
alright. Let's get it.
Oh yeah, I never played that.
Show him.
Okay, they're all back there right now. No! No! Where the f is he? Where did he go? No! No, you get the f out of. No, he's moving! What the f?
This is my first like.
I
No,
mean,
stop looking at me!
It really is not scary. It really is not
if you've
scary.
never played the previous FNAF games, then I can see
No.
why.
No.
Go away! Go
I've
away!
played all of them. I've finished all of them.
Yep, nope. Fuck off.
I've done
You can go
20
right ahead to hell, mister.
Unfair. You've never played the game.
Ah!
Oh my god.
Wait.
Oh my god.
Come on,
No!
Is she okay? Did she die?
I'm supposed to sleep tonight! Where did he come from? Okay, so I need to be careful for Foxy boy.
On my $50 editing
Okay.
software.
Better watch it.
No! What the f, Foxy? Get back in your fucking cove! You dare you fucker! Don't you dare
We're the same
fucking
ratio.
leave! I will fucking murder you, Justine. I will fucking murder you, Foxy. Stay in your
I caught
cove.
Fox.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Oh my god! They're on both sides of me! What the fuck I do?
We were flexing birthdays.
What the fuck?
Oh, they ate it up. The stream ate it up.
Where the fuck are they going? I want to fucking die. I want to fucking die. I'm gonna fucking die. I don't wanna do this. I'm gonna fucking I'm scared. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. No! No! Leave! Leave! Okay, it's almost fucking 6 a.m. It's almost 6 a.m.
Grandparents' couch. That doesn't count.
No! Freddy! Freddy there!
Yeah.
Go die! No!
I can't see anything with
No!
There is an actual thing on that name.
Did you switch it?
No!
How is he like a Did you switch it from randomly appeared at the door?
Go away!
I think you can
no.
hear
No,
her.
hold on.
Yeah, but it's just
Oh.
like
I didn't even
see him.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, you were my seat. Yeah.
come here.
What?
Oh, you're lucky.
I made it!
No, you were lucky. Hey, where'd you go?
I don't want to sit down.
Oh my god!
He lived.
Barely kill.
Did you ever do like the whole thing, or is it just snap one?
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Like you're
No, I only played FNAF 1 in this one because I was scared.
That's my box.
The repair
They just
items
put a
are a
music
little less
there.
scary. The repair items are
Yeah.
a little less
It's a little.
It's gonna be another
the second time I did all the
Alright,
others.
everything's fine. I'm fine.
Snap 3 is the easiest one.
I have fucking balls, okay? I have big, fat, huge
Oh yeah, FNAF 4 gives you
balls.
FNAF
Look at the
longest
corridor,
map.
not in a camera. I don't
FNAF
like
4 is
it.
FNAF
worse.
4 is arguably the scariest FNAF out of all.
Yeah.
Flat screen,
Definitely.
let alone VR.
Oh yeah, they did.
No light.
Down the hallway.
Well, you have one light, but
I love the time
Damn.
PHIA then.
If you thought
What?
they were scary,
Wait, was that? Did you trick me? Wait, if I look out the door, does it fucking get me?
Just looking at them is creepy.
Oh,
just looking at them, even
Jesus!
though they don't
Immediately said Foxy.
yeah.
We need to put some soap in your mouth.
I like your dress.
I know.
Oh, you could see the things that Foxy won't get you.
His narrator really wanted this one, and I'm like, I haven't watched this in years. I'm like, crying.
I knew it! I knew it! It was a fucking prank! I knew it! Come on, chat, let's make this poor girl be on trending for her fears and horrors because it's funny!
How many views?
You
It is pretty funny.
fucking go away! You
I
fucker
think you
bitch!
broke like 140 on the
Why
stream.
did the dog come up when you said
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Virtual Reality Show, where we talk about any and all things related to virtual reality! Inside
I would.
virtual reality?
virtual reality!
I wouldn't blame her.
I'm your host, Mia!
You're just being fighting.
Oh my god, I made it! I made it!
That's what, night 3?
No sweat.
Oh,
No.
Okay, I want to see you play
No.
Night Terrors now.
Okay.
I might want to see play night there.
Yeah.
I think it's game night too.
At least I should have been down.
DLC is really good. The DLC is really good.
Oh yeah, the DLC is amazing.
Oh my god!
Terrifying.
Thank you for gifting. I just want to fucking win this goddamn game, okay? They're both there. I'm at 19%. It's 4 a.m.
It's scary as shit, because it's not just one
And it was horrifying.
Oh wait.
No! Where did chat go? My chat is gone. No! No, please!
Where's the chat?
What? It's not gonna clutch. The first goes play.
Oh, guys, I was so close. Okay. Okay, guys.
Did you ever get to Parsons River?
Very good Foxy imitation.
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
No, I don't like that. No, I do not like that one bit.
Too much for me.
Why did you
My
start
birthday was
birthday?
up so hard after that stream.
You shouldn't have
No, I do not like that.
Please go away, please go away.
Was your heart rate
I don't want this anymore.
Can't blame you.
I can't do this. Guys, I don't think I can win.
Yes, you can.
Mistakes were made.
Wow,
I'm not scared.
You know you have to check the cameras when he's outside running.
I'm no longer in fear. I'm anger only.
A few
minutes later.
No! No, just take
You
it
know,
from me,
whenever you press the
please!
camera,
No, just like
he starts running. So if you don't touch the camera, he doesn't come to you. So whenever you're clicking the cameras, it triggers him even more.
Yeah, it actually does trigger me.
No!
Keep your lights on while you have the door closed.
No!
Oh yeah.
No!
No, it's.
Wait!
Did you do the nitro?
There is a gun! I would like to thank my mom for giving birth to me, and I would like to thank my boyfriend for being cute. I want to see the prize counter. Can I actually redeem anything?
Alright, we're not watching this one ever again. It's coming down. Coming down from now.
I got a basketball!
Oh my
Oh,
Wait, did you ever take the tapes? Did you ever take the tapes?
Probably.
You found in like this area.
If you did, oh my god.
This area.
Yeah, this legitimately
Oh
was
my
the most
God.
viewers I had ever had on a stream before.
I don't think you would actually get thrown away!
Oh no, you didn't have a tape for this point.
Score. Alright, we're doing FNAF 2. Never actually played FNAF 2. I've only played the original.
Oh no.
FNAF 2 is a lot harder.
Oh my god. Do I actually have to wear this on my face?
Yeah.
Oh my god. How do I close the doors?
You can do it literally with one
Close
hand.
doors! There are no doors!
If only there was a door in my
Well, how do I keep them out? I don't like
You
this.
just flash the light
I
at them.
don't
you're
like this. I don't like this. I want to die. I don't like this.
I don't think she knows
like
about the music box.
I don't think so.
The only thing I do in that
I mean, but I didn't
stare at
How do I know if
I
they're
mean, that's a
left?
good idea.
How do I know if they're gone?
If I don't check on the other episode, I can just stare at puppets.
Dinky.
Oh, yeah!
Dinky.
Let's ride, bitch.
This?
Did you? Oh my god, dabbing.
Dark
Oh god.
rooms.
Oh, dark room.
These were truly dark times.
Oh no! I don't like this.
You're not.
No!
Oh god, no.
I don't like this.
He is
What?
gonna
How do I win? I don't like it.
time
You have to
limit
stop
on
plush
what
trap
you
with the.
Then I have a
No, I don't want him to hit me.
It doesn't turn on when I'm
3, 2, 1.
He is gonna die. Right there.
No! I did not like that. I did not like that one. I did not like that one.
Being scared is a
The
shit.
power of VR, making you shit yourself.
Wait, I'm gonna ask the real questions.
Oh no.
Have you broken any indexes? And if so, how many?
What does it kill me while I'm fixing it?
Just for with bodies left here.
You grab the right eye.
That's the eye.
Oh!
You grab
That was the right eye.
Close your eyes at
Yeah, I know.
going
I'm
to
going
like
my
the
dyslexia came out.
Yeah.
Your
What's dyslexia
attention
have to do with
span.
anything?
I have dyslexia.
Left and right.
You're not reading it.
For index.
Whoa.
Come on.
What is...
The
That is
attention
like
span
one
in
of
the
the
field
Stop
is very
it! I see you there!
Getting your rights and left.
Why is it black light? Night 5?
Yeah.
Where did night
Did you
5
not
come
see
from,
the eyes?
though? Okay, this is last one, and then I'm like literally cannot handle this anymore. It blows my mind how people like played this game enough to like
Oh,
I don't know get all the secrets and stuff.
I hate
Like how dumb are you to be scary? Oh God, there's 2 of them?
Yeah,
Oh God. Please go away.
PHIA plier.
Please go away.
He's actually blocked on
I have 3%. It's almost 6 a.m. I'm gonna eat shit, dude. Yep, okay. Okay, time to eat it. Oh, yep, okay. Okay.
If you go to the prismatic avatar world and you click random avatar stuff, you definitely find ones that just block your vision.
she's just lost it.
Third fucking time, dude. I don't know, man. I think I'm fucking done. I think I'm done. I was very scared. I was very scared. That was a lot.
Were you
This is a lot from poor little me. That was a lot. Okay. Yeah, what happened to VRChat?
I mean, she was 100% kind in her,
Yes.
She did so many good deeds in her.
Spicy. No.
The idea of physically stepping into virtual reality is an astounding concept almost as old as the idea of VR itself. Omnidirectional treadmills are an elaborate and complicated piece of technology designed to do exactly this. And for this video, I researched the interesting history of these devices to examine both the past and future of this niche-turned household gadget from our dystopian future that's literally arrived at my doorstep. Let's talk about ODTs.
It truly has. We're aged back.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Virtual Reality Show, where we talk about any and all things related to virtual reality inside virtual reality. I'm your host, PHIA. If you've ever tried on a VR headset, one of the first things you probably noticed is the mental disconnect between you and your physical body when exploring a virtual world. Navigating with a controller while immersed in a 3D environment rather than using your own body can lead to cyber sickness and a break in immersion, as your brain struggles to adapt your senses to the simulation. The misaligned information from your brain to your body causes what we know as the VR locomotion problem. Along with devices like shoes and gerbil balls, omnidirectional treadmills look to fix exactly that. For this video, I deep dived into ODTs as both a technology and concept to highlight why these niche products are important to our future, as well as where they even came from in the first place. If you spend a lot of time in virtual reality already, you've probably heard of the first consumer level ODT released called the Catwalk C, whose company even sent me a unit which sparked the burning curiosity inside me to create this omnidirectional deep dive. So what even is an omnidirectional treadmill? Well, it's the most straightforward device for providing unencumbered 360-degree movement in any direction with the purpose of exploring virtual environments using your entire body. Different innovators have thought of this concept in quite a few ways to create them at this point, all with the hope to increase immersiveness through engaging the entire physical body within a specified space. VR headsets date way back to the 60s, but it wasn't until 3 decades later that there was even a working prototype model for an omnidirectional treadmill to accompany them. So let's time travel back to far before my time, the 1990s. The first omnidirectional treadmill was patented by David Carmain in 1996 and was funded by, you guessed it, the US military. The greatest love story ever told, war and technology. It was the third iteration of locomotion developed for the United States Strike Command, following the unicycle-styled pedaling uniport of 1994 and the single-directional treadport of 1995 that allowed upper torso directional reactivity. This 6.5 by 7 foot bulk of tech weighed in at a massive 1,200 pounds and was 15 feet tall. It had an outer and inner treadmill constructed on top of each other made up of over 3,000 rollers, with the top roller belt treadmill perpendicular to the bottom one. The way the rollers cradled and rotated allowed the user to walk in arbitrary directions while using the device. Because the device was intended for military training, it found its home at the Army Research Lab of Orlando, Florida.
That's right.
But meanwhile, across the pond, Dr. Hiro Iwata was building a belt-based treadmill at the Virtual Reality Lab of University of Tsukuba, Japan, just north of Tokyo. After experimenting with his virtual perambulator, his 1999 invention was the Torus treadmill, an ODT built of 12 smaller treadmill belts built in the shape of an elongated torus driven in a perpendicular direction. The magnetic sensors below the user's feet would move in the opposite direction to cancel the motion of each step. Definitely an upgrade from a piece of paper on the floor. So skip a few years to 2003 and we see the new kid on the block, the ODBP. The Omnidirectional Ball-Bearing Disc Platform was created by the Department of Computer Science and Information Engineering at Tamkang University in Taiwan, whose surface consisted of moving balls constrained within a concave walking surface. The users would move the balls while walking with a harness strapped onto them for counter force. Man, gotta love balls. The same year Tamkang University was tripping on balls, the US Army started throwing money at the Cyberwalk project, a second-generation belt-based ODT that evolved into its own research project in 2008, funded by the European Sixth Framework Program to a team consisting of a bunch of German researchers. This one was based on the Torus design of Iwata's ODT, but I quote, developed and implemented several new design solutions to overcome some of the shortcomings in Iwata's original design. These included improvements to normal walking speeds, a stronger ability to change speed and direction, compensations for walking velocity, and higher safety measures for users with no previous walking experience in mind. The Cyberwalk was 5 meters long on each side and used a Vicon motion capturing system. The mocap system would monitor the user's position and then compute estimates for their speed and direction to adjust the belts beneath them accordingly. Basically meaning that if you walk too far away from the center, the machine just pushes you back without abruptly throwing you off balance. Once the 2010s rolled around a few years after this project, we were met with the birth of Oculus, also marking the birth of consumer VR. 2012 started this era of VR commercialization with the launch of the original Oculus Kickstarter, but the building hype towards VR was growing outside of that, with major ODT companies getting their start quickly after. The Virtuix Omni Kickstarter launched in 2013, raising $1.1 million alone for their original ODT campaign, which has made them a hot name ever since, considering in 2013 barely anyone had their hands on VR to begin with. Cat VR also had their formation in 2013 and finally put out their Kickstarter in 2015 for the original iteration of their Catwalk slide mill treadmill. Slide mills seem to be the best type of at-home omnidirectional treadmills we can get our hands on for the time being, but anyone who's watched Ready Player One probably has noticed that Wade Watts' home setup resembles that of the belted nature of the moving ones I mentioned from the 90s and 2000s. Well, believe it or not, the treadmill he uses in the movie is actually a real omnidirectional treadmill made by a real company, with maybe just a little movie magic thrown in that we don't even have to wait for it to exist. Infinidex started up in 2015, shortly before the release of the Oculus Rift CD1, as the founder was good friends with Oculus founder Palmer Luckey, and wanted to wait for the true VR commercialization phase before pushing his own ODT company. This treadmill takes after the Cyberwalk in a lot of ways, but drops its massive size down, allowing it to even fit inside a 6x6 foot play space, and adds a support ring around the waist to compensate for easy stability. I personally find the design of the Infinideck to be the most straightforwardly appealing ODT I've seen, but we don't know at what point we'll even have any hope for a consumer version. They don't give their prices out anywhere online, and the only article I've seen claims that it'll sell from $40 to $60K, which seems ridiculous, but I also wouldn't be too surprised considering that their clients are likely going to be aimed at professional training simulations funded by the government. There's still other companies that have also spread it out in recent times, each trying to bring their own solution to the VR locomotion problem table. VR is growing in popularity, which means that more and more eyes eyes and brains are being brought to the ODT concept as a whole, which leads us to the present. After Cat VR's success with their professional level catwalk slide mill, they launched another Kickstarter in 2020 for their consumer level product, the Catwalk C. It raised $1.6 million on Kickstarter, demonstrating how adamantly excited so many of us VR fans are to really get our feet dirty in virtual mud. Cat themselves kindly sent me a unit, and after trying this thing out for the first time, my curiosity of ODTs and the importance of this one being for consumers seemed more interesting than just a product review. After hopping in VR to talk with a Cat representative, I think I realized the importance of a product like this being available for this price.
So first of all, we need some freedom of movement, but we also need some stability, right? We need to be able to move up and down, to jump or crouch, but at the same time we need to be safe. We need to provide a treadmill that is lightweight and compact, but it also needs to be durable. So these are the things that are really difficult to achieve together, because they always stand in opposition with one another.
I don't think even I had a true appreciation for how incredible this thing is before now. At first glance, you might see it as a clunky piece of metal, but there's a whole history here built off the story-eyed hopes of previous generation reality explorers.
It's a game that lets you actually walk into the virtual reality, because when you have a headset, you got a window, right? You have a place to look through. When you have your controllers, of course, you can try to push yourself through the window to gather your head and hands, but you still cannot fully physically experience what's in there. And we believe a treadmill gives you an actual gate to walk through and experience the virtual reality.
Although Cat sent me this unit, this video is not a review about the Catwalk C. My honest thoughts are that it's far from feeling natural. It feels constrained, being in a waist harness, sliding around. It's pretty loud just to hop in on at any time of the day. It's not a product I would use on a regular basis as a daily VR user. But when you stop to realize that this is the first affordable iteration of a long-awaited niche futuristic piece of hardware technology that's been fantasized about since the idea of VR itself was first conceptualized, well, I think it's got a lot going for it. It's not tens of thousands of dollars or only available to the military. It's a way for you and I both, for the first time, to physically step into these imaginary worlds we've been dreaming about since we were children. While Catwalk C is the first of its kind, we do have to keep an eye out for companies like Virtuix that have already dabbled in shipping out ODT units with Kickstarter for upcoming projects in the near future. The virtual reality ball has started rolling, which means that interest and growth in this sort of tech is going to be sliding up an exponential graph from here on out. I found out a lot about ODTs and VR locomotion through the making of this video, and as someone who knows nothing about engineering, it's kind of special how I got interested in this. Treadmills, slide mills, rotating ball mills, there's a lot that's been made and more to come. ODTs are big and bulky and most likely will stay this way, even as they get better and cheaper, just because of the nature of what they do. They aren't convenient or easy to use by any means, which is a big deterrent for people who may love VR and even have the money. For this reason, I'm honestly not sure they'll ever become a common commodity even among VR enthusiasts, but I do believe that for those such as myself with a burning desire to explore every inch of the infinite frontier that is virtual reality, there is something bright right now below our horizon. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like and subscribe to the Virtual Reality Show channel. This was a long time coming and a lot of work to research since there's very little information about the history of omnidirectional treadmills anywhere online. Huge thanks to Cat VR for sending me a unit and inspiring me to make this video. If you want to keep up to date with me and my adventures, then follow my Twitter. Also, supporting my Patreon is the best way to directly allow me to create more videos just like this. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I've been your host, PHIA, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Special thanks to this month's Patreon members and virtual VIPs: Black Amethyst, Diamond, Klukale, Mr. Cheerio, Neoplasm, Scoremauer.
Most of them are.
I think so.
A lot of loyalty.
Yeah, brand loyalty.
No.
People can become so immersed in virtual reality, they start to feel things that aren't even there. Sight alone is enough to invoke a feeling of touch on a player's body. Whether that's the warm sensation of a hug or the pain of being shot, there's no haptics involved. The only hardware we rely on is the strongest piece of technology in the world, the human brain. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Virtual Reality Show, where we talk about any and all things related to virtual reality inside virtual reality. I'm your host, PHIA. In 2020, I made a video about the weird phenomenon of phantom touch that people experience in virtual reality. Now it's 2022, and I've seen firsthand how popular of a topic phantom touch truly is after making that video. After all, it's kind of freaky and scary, but also comforting and even sensual. People who go into VR for the first time and experience it get so taken aback that they have to know the explanation behind it. And then there's others who hear about it and then train their brains to strengthen those feelings. This week, I reopened the survey from my previous video and got a sample size of over 500 people who experience phantom touch, asking questions about how they experience it. In this video, I'll go over those results and also dive into the scientific reasonings for how this phenomenon occurs with an expert psychologist. And finally, we'll visit a phantom touch trainer who does one-on-one sessions to induce the sensations of being touched in VRChat to users like you or me. But first, let's go over the basics. Phantom touch is a subcategory of phantom sense, which includes any sensory experience that is induced through virtual reality, like smells. But the touchy-feelies are by far the most common and talked about. It's commonly experienced in player-to-player interactions, whether that be from head pats, handshakes, or let's just say heavy petting. I made a whole video on that side of VR, so you can definitely check that out after this one. However, it's not just limited to player-to-player. There can be many stimulants like the chill of snow or warmth of a fire. You might actually feel running into a wall, but you can also feel the pain of being stabbed or shot. Basically, anything you can imagine can be a visual stimulant. For some people, phantom touch is a really amazing thing. It can be so comforting to cuddle up to someone in front of a mirror while having your head or face touched, but it can also be a curse. Consent is something that can often get really screwed around in VR, seeing as people see it as not real. Touching, poking, walking through, or even physically harassing someone might seem funny, but a lot of people end up hiding their phantom touch from others because of how not funny it is to them when they feel a physical sensation on their body. You probably wouldn't just go up to someone you don't know in real life and violate their face and body, so the same rules apply in virtual reality too.
I experience phantom touch very strongly.
It's weird, but I can actually feel when people touch my ears. Like
what you see before you can feel.
So obviously phantom touch is pretty cool, but there's sadly not many resources or documentation on it at all, which is why I decided to go gather my own data. I posted a survey to my Discord server, tried if you want to be included in future videos, and Twitter. I pulled in a sample size of over 500 people with phantom touch, well over double the original sample in my previous video. The results are pretty freaking interesting, and I'm going to quickly summarize the most interesting takeaways next. The first batch of data showed that almost half of the respondents experience it the majority of the time they're in VR. The other 50% has it less often. The most common sensations people feel are tingling, fuzziness, and heat from things like fires or explosions. Less people reported pain and numbness, but it is interesting to see how about a third have actually experienced sexual pleasure. Again, check my old video for more on this. There were tons of less common feelings reported, such as tickling, textures, or pressure. 90% of people get phantom touch from player-to-player interaction, beating out any other stimulus like objects or projectiles by a landslide. and it seems that very few people lose their phantom touch over time. A major hunk of people reported that their phantom touch actually increased rather than desensitized. It's a pretty clear link to how immersed people can actually get themselves. It was a pretty even split on whether or not people actively sought out experiencing phantom touch, and although most people have not engaged in sexual activity, it seems that typically when they do, it's because the partners involved experience it together. Finally, there was no clear trend towards whether or not people shared the information with others that they have phantom touch or not. That's a rough summary of my data findings. Thanks to everyone who participated, because this is a really valuable study of something that hasn't really been evaluated by science before, especially at this size. So I feel like we have a pretty dang good grasp of how phantom touch is experienced now. Obviously, it's a widespread phenomena across VR users, but I've been pondering this one question. Why does this happen? So, of course, I dove into research science mode pretty deeply to better help explain what we're actually feeling. Now, this is a lot more of a difficult task than you might think. The problem with VR research is that virtual reality is still such a young topic. Most people didn't even have access to VR headsets until only the past few years, so it's only just now that interest in it is finally peaking. That's why I dug up some interesting information and even talked to an applied psychologist VR expert about the subject.
So hi, I am Virtual Lily. I am an applied psychologist and criminologist. During my degree, I was actually doing an academic paper on phantom sense and its applications. It just needs to be accepted by the approval process, unfortunately. What you're looking for is research on proprioception and proprioceptive drift. It's this idea of where our body is that then tell our brain, hey, my body is moving and doing this in this space. Your brain actually doesn't know what your body is all the time. It's a top-down process. And then we decide to do something really stupid and mess with millions of years of evolution by slapping a piece of plastic to our heads that hijacks all of these senses.
Proprioception is often referred to by scientists as our sixth sense. I see dead people. It's our ability to be aware of our body's position and movements without being totally conscious of them at every given moment. Without it, we'd be totally uncoordinated, going anywhere, or know our own strength. This works in conjunction with the extrastriate body area, which is the part of our brains involved in visual perception of body parts. We also know that the brain has a pretty intense habit of filling in visual gaps. Think of the old photo of the dress. People see it as either black and blue or as white and gold because of how our brains perceive the colors by filling in the gaps. You can also see in this classic mind trick where the squares are the exact same color but look darker and lighter because of how we assume the shadows are cast. Now, the way our brains tend to process this sort of information is through something called top-down processing. This is how perceptions will start out as a general big picture idea before our brains move to analyzing the specifics and details. This connects directly to how our brains fill in the blanks, like previously mentioned. Top-down processing is what leads to stuff like those stupid typos you always make in email messages. You see what you think should be there rather than what is. So when we connect all these ideas, we get an idea of how our brains perceive our bodies in the first place, and how often we can easily get tricked. Now, with that in mind, this brings us closer to one very important experiment that ties in directly with phantom touch itself, the rubber hand experiment. The rubber hand experiment is essentially this. You take a curtain and on one side you conceal your hand to where you can't see it. On the visible side, there is a dummy hand that looks like it's attached to you. Then the administrator in front of you brushes both of the hands lightly. But what happens is that your brain sees the rubber hand being touched and assigns the feeling in your brain to the fake hand. Following so far? Well, this is where things start to get interesting. After synchronously stroking the hands for a while, the administrator then can start to brush them asynchronously. But when some people watch this, they start to feel the strokes on the fake hand when they're not actually really feeling them.
Kinda spooky, right? This is where the proprioceptive drift comes in. The drifting feeling is when all of a sudden your sense of proprioception is shifted in your mind, meaning you are hallucinating the tactile feeling of being touched. This also ties into synesthesia, when your brain experiences one of your senses through another. For example, I personally have grapheme color synesthesia, so that when I look at letters and numbers, etc., they're all assigned a specific color in my mind's eye. Mere touch synesthesia is when someone feels a touch sensation by watching someone else actually get touched. Like watching someone get a shot and feeling a prick in your arm, or when a movie character gets shot and feeling that sharp pain in your chest. There's not a lot of true research available on phantom touch besides a few short studies. This goes for VR in general, but through analyzing proprioceptive drift, feelings of synesthesia, or even suggestive states of hypnosis, there's a lot of explanations tied together that create this unique and powerful experience that many of us VR users feel. So whether you have phantom touch already or don't and are interested in experiencing it, there are ways to train yourself into feeling it. That's why I threw together a special demo to watch one of my friends being trained to feel phantom touch firsthand.
My name is Sen, and I make like ASMR and phantom touch videos, like relaxation videos. I basically do phantom touch. I've learned that how to move so that people can sort of feel things or things that help them relax. What you really want to do is sort of tell lies with your motions that allow people to see or feel something that's not what they should. So the idea is that if you move in a predictable way, if you move in a way that people are expecting, it's more likely they're going to feel something.
I'm just the guinea pig, right? Like that's all, I mean, like, that's all I'm here for, really. I don't have much experience with phantom touch. I feel little things every now and then, you know, like standard phantom touch senses, like, you know, like someone touching you, I don't really register too well.
So you can place your hand into my hand, and here's how I'm going to start. I'm going to slowly bring my hand up and make contact to the inside of your elbow like this, and pull back toward your hand like this.
Oh, do I have to...
And then both arms, or both hands alongside your arm like this.
Why do I feel this in my arm? I'm just watching it, but I can feel it in my arm
And
or
then just stop
something.
right at the end like I did before, and just hold for a second. You might feel some warmth.
I need an adult.
Yeah, I'm not looking at
As
it
if
very nice, so it
someone
doesn't happen to my arm.
I'm an
past your
adult.
hand.
Wait, I'm 22 years old. I need an
Okay.
adult. You're an adult.
Jesus Christ, this should be illegal what you're doing to me right now. What the hell?
I'm gonna put one hand over your eye and one over mine. So this is a mirrored touch. A lot of ASMR artists do this mirror motion.
Be younger.
And what's really cool about this is that because you can see what I'm doing over my face, it's a reference point, so you know where I am
10 years
over
old.
you
Old
like
at
that.
least.
I don't think there's anyone here
Both
who's
hands are going under your chin, both hands pulling away from your chin, like
Is
that.
this softcore porn?
How was that?
What the fuck?
No, it's softcore.
I
don't think I've ever been that immersed, like, ever. That was a lot.
really uncomfortable really quickly.
I think I need a moment. Give me a moment. Like, at first, I wasn't really, like, feeling it. When he grasped, like, my hands like this, like, I actually felt the warmth. It was, like, a gradual, like, build. The more he, like, went through with all the stuff that he did. It wasn't like, you know, like, someone, like, clasping on your hands, like, regularly. Like, it was, like, there was a difference, like, about it. At least, like, to me. It's like, you know, like, getting, like, vegan food and then like eating it. It's like, well, like it's kind of there, but like, I mean, like, not. I mean, like, this isn't like the real thing, but like it's kind of there.
Not everyone can experience phantom touch, and that's okay. Everyone perceives their world differently. If you're really curious more about inducing phantom touch in yourself, I have a few final tips for you. Increase the quality of your VR headset, get full body and finger tracking, find a main avatar that you mentally connect with, try hypnosis or focus training like we showed in this video, or if it's legal where you live, substances can also increase immersion. I've felt phantom touch, but not all the time. But if there's one takeaway I've learned from all of this, It's that your perception of what's real is your reality, physical or not. I hope you learned something interesting from this video, and hope you'll stick around for more interesting VR topics just like this. Comment your thoughts on Phantom Touch, and of course, I've got one final message. Anything else you want to say then?
Like and subscribe.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, PHIA, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Special thanks to this month's Patreon members and virtual VIPs, Black Amethyst, Diamond, Klukulek, Mr. Cheerleader, Neoplasm, Scoremouth.
You should really special donate the $100 tier. Hey, really? Special donate my OnlyFans. Sorry, oh god.
October 31st, 2022, SAO, a virtual...
Yeah, sort of live, let's go!
I changed it from movie to theater.
Wait a second, it's 2023. Where's my headset, Elon?
No, Ginger makes a movie.
I've heard of it.
Technically, they're doing human trials right now with Elon, the Neuralink doing human trials.
Project Aincrad. And you can too, because the entire thing is built inside of VRChat. I'm gonna explain to you how, and also why it's so exciting and important. So lie down, grab your nerve gear, and get ready to become fully immersed in the ongoing SAO-inspired project, Project Aincrad. It was 10 years ago that the anime came out, inspiring fans to be interested in VR for the very first time, including the likes of Oculus founder Palmer Luckey. Needless to say, it's been a piece of media with one of the strongest effects towards the entire industry. Heck, Zenith released at the beginning of this year, and the original Kickstarter raised almost $300,000 and recently $35 million in Series B funding. I think it's safe to say that people really want a real SAO to play, but nothing has quite hit that spot yet. But I'm here to talk about a fan project that's reaching to do just that. A project that will fully recreate its own version of Sword Art Online, aiming to include every single feature the game has to offer. But the whole thing started when Zerathax, a VRChat player with a passionate love for SAO's concept, had their own idea to recreate the simple idea of the iconic menu from the anime.
My name is Zerathax. I thought VR was amazing when I watched SAO, but I had no idea VR was coming. I realized that pointing your finger and swiping down is a very simple action. Everybody loved it, and that was when I realized, okay, I guess I should maybe keep doing this.
But little did Zerathax know at the time, soon the idea would be so popular among VR users that he'd have to band together with other VRChat programmers and builders to form Argus Development, a 20-person VRChat-based group devoted to creating Project Aincrad and fulfilling his original vision of bringing SAO into virtual reality.
We can totally do all the things to make this into all of SAO.
Which is exactly what I experienced when recommended on stream to go check this world out.
Currently, the biggest things we have is, of course, very known menu, because it's something that everyone can recognize. If you've seen SAO, you know that you do this with your finger and the swipe motion, and the really cool menu pops in front of you. Anyone that is kind of a fan of SAO and doing this for yourself is pretty cool. You can also use that same menu to access your inventory, take out a weapon, take out some teleport crystal or potion or healing or whatever. There's this world seed that basically enables everything to function how it does. So it's like all the programming and everything is packaged into this seed. So we're actually pretty much doing that same thing. So once we have that world seed, we can just copy paste that into a different VRChat world and potentially make the second floor, the third floor, the fourth floor, all the way to up to 100. Making that first world seed is gonna take the longest, but once we have it, the second floor or the third world is gonna be a lot more faster to develop. Anything that's in the anime, it's gonna be in some way or another in the world. It's kind of like my dream, just being able to play SAO for myself.
With the basis of Project Aincrad being built upon the World Seed concept and interactable menu comes lots of additional features. You can earn money over time by just hanging out in the world, and buy everything from potion items to weapons that go straight into your inventory. The world itself is absolutely gorgeous to explore, and even has a day-night cycle and swimming to make it feel more alive. What's really interesting as well is their anti-cheat system that deliberately prevents you from clipping into walls to peek, and a system that makes you unable to play Space Drop lag or no clip more than a couple feet, which is to prevent cheating and also protects the validity of the experience, especially when it comes to PvP combat. The most impressive feature, however, is the first of its kind VRChat save system. Any items, experience, and progression you've made are specifically tied to you, so that you can leave the map at any point and then return in a totally different instance later and pick up exactly where you were before, which is a feature that VRChat has yet to implement natively. This is what's implemented right now, but all of these systems like the marketing, trading, and combat will be improved later on. Same goes for improving the buildings and terrain locations, because every asset in the map is custom made by Argus's 3D modelers. The public version of PvP just released in the live version this week, and the PvE against enemies is likely going to be implemented in the next couple of months. So even though the features haven't been fleshed out to the fullest extent, the map is totally explorable and playable right now. And once level 1 is complete, the rest of the 99 levels will be even easier to create. A full Aincrad to explore.
The reason why we're not using our own development and do it from scratch, that would involve a lot of economical investment, because we would need servers, we would need to pay for the equipment for just hosting the game itself.
Udon is the system we can use to program things in VRChat, and it is really powerful in the sense that basically anything you can do within the Unity game engine, you can also do within VRChat. So every single line of code we write, we have to be very careful and make sure that it's really optimized.
All the code that is in the world is custom made.
Udon is really slow. When I use a sword to hit someone, it might take half a second or even a second and a half for the other player to see that. That becomes a very big issue very quickly, because it's going to feel unfair, of course.
Although we might wish that this was a standalone application, I actually think that it's really awesome that the Argus team has been able to create all of this in VRChat. And well, that's what makes Argus really special. Zerathax never intended to create a whole game. He was inspired through VRChat to create a fun homage to SAO with a cool menu system just to show friends. But that small action was enough to inspire a handful of people to join in and do the same. It's hard to believe that so many people have joined in to make this happen for players just like me and you, completely out of passion. The only money they get are splits off of Patreon. It's not an indie game studio, even though they're doing things that one would do, just out of love and for free.
Ooh, release dates.
There's always going to be more. There's always going to be more we can do to make the anime, to make it a better game.
Never tell fans of a computer game a release date, because when you don't make that date, they tend to get very vocal and angry. The internet is very unforgiving at telling you how things are.
Whether or not it's finished anytime soon, right now it functions enough that you can play. Even if you don't know anything about SAO, it's still an enjoyable place to check out. And hey, if you want to contribute too, then there's a whole Google form to fill out. Earlier this week I created a shorts channel to post a preview of this video. But on TikTok it's got well over 500,000 views, which is pretty awesome, but I'd rather be posting YouTube shorts, so please subscribe to there for more short form content soon. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content just like this. Anyways, I've been your host PHIA, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye! Special thanks to this month's Patreon members and virtual VIPs: Angel, Black Amethyst, Christopher Brown, Circus Badger, Clarity, Connor Terrell, Dark Punk, Dutech, Dutchman 101, Gamut, GS Genesis, Kaze Ryu, Lyle 4Guy, Moonlight _N, Neoplasm, Nair, Penny, Prism, Rye 60003333, Shadow Ronin, Silver Spartan, Score Maller, Snake 8head, Signer, Third Eye, and Sally Washington.
Yeah.
I joined over 11,000 furries in VRChat to experience one of the largest virtual conventions to ever happen, Furality. I'm not a furry, but I am a longtime VR user and enthusiast, so I made it my personal mission to finally sit down, figure out what's actually going on here, and document what attending a virtual furry convention is like. I expect the majority of you watching are not furries and probably haven't been to anything like this before, and well, there's a lot to unpack here, and it's way more interesting than you might think. Before we get started, I want to give a huge thanks to this video's sponsor, Ramen VR, and their game Zenith: The Last City. Inspired by anime, JRPGs, MMOs, and more, Zenith hit the #1 best-selling game on Steam, Oculus, and PSVR as soon as it launched earlier last year.
Assuming most of you are VR users already, or at least interested in becoming one, Zenith is a great pickup with a lot to check out. From dungeons and raids, cooking and crafting, gliding, climbing, pets, and more, there is definitely something here that will hit everyone's interests. PSVR 2 launched literally this week, so now is the perfect time to grab a copy of the game and join a huge new influx of users to adventure with. Their 1.3 patch is also about to come out, which is bringing a whole new class of character you can choose called Cyber Ninja. And just look at the concept design, I think it's by far the coolest one yet. Additionally, I'm a massive advocate for full body tracking and how important having legs in VR is, and they recently added it to their game, which puts it leagues above so many other virtual reality titles out there. So yeah, go check out Zenith the Lost City for yourself with the link in the description, and go join a guild or something while supporting VR development. And with that, back to the video. This is Furality Luma Festival, a halfway mini-fest between the larger version of the convention that's happening later this year. Although Furality pulls in thousands of people for each event, you don't hear a lot about anyone going except for, well, furries. And to get the elephant out of the room, people hate furries. Well, at least from what it seems on the internet. They've been an easy target to laugh at, cringe at, and make fun of for a long time, which isn't necessarily surprising. I've personally never had any problem with furries. I generally like to hold the belief that people should express themselves however they want, but I also never really interacted with them until playing VR. And the amount of furries in VRChat is a crazy phenomena. There are so many. Practically every world you go to, there will be at least one person in some sort of furry avatar. But why?
Furries and VRChat feel like a match made in heaven.
We're the authors, we're the game designers, we are the architects of our own realities. I can be who I want to be, whenever I want to be.
Over and over again, I've talked on this channel about how one of the craziest parts of VR is the raw expression you can have when embodying an avatar. And while this is appealing to almost everyone for a variety of reasons, it makes perfect sense when applying to furries. Think about it. People come up with their characters they identify with, aka their personas, and unlike most cosplays that can be made with relative ease, it's a lot harder to dress up as an anthropomorphic character. The infamous fursuit is uncomfortable, sweaty, and extremely costly, in some cases even paying up to $6,000. Now compare this to a VR avatar, not only is it significantly less costly, but they're also way closer to the character you might have designed because there's literally zero physical limitations from doing what you want. So with that in mind, it makes sense that the community would have the resources to put together something like a large-scale festival.
I'm Dalton. I'm chairman and creative director of Furality. I found the furry fandom through VRChat. I only had a chance to attend a few physical events prior to the pandemic. Within the VR furry community, we knew where we were, while we saw the overall furry fandom really having a sense of loss. There were sort of murmurs in the community of, well, wouldn't it be great if we could just attend a convention right here in VRChat?
The first Furality was in 2020 with the founder Dalton hoping to pull in a few hundred people at best, but over 2,600 furries came through. Of course, things kept expanding, and now there's been a total of 5 full Furality conventions, along with this past weekend's Luma Festival, marking a halfway point before this year's 6th event in June, with the most previous convention bringing in over 15,000 registered attendees. I never went to any of these events, so with this one being my first, I decided to go into full immersion mode and do the absolute unthinkable, make my own furry avatar. My online username everywhere is PHIA Bunny, and so obviously I had to pick a bunny, and so, voila! This was 30 hours straight of live music, dancing, and meetups. Despite being a mini event, it was jam-packed full of non-stop energy.
On my agenda was just a few things. Attend the opening ceremonies, go to the Rabbit Rodent meetup, check out the Avatar Dealer's Den, and watch the fireworks before the closing ceremonies the next night. Multiple events run all at once, with dozens of individual instances to hold the thousands of concurrent attendees spread across all the worlds. Off the bat, the hype levels were off the charts, with the hosts displaying across the worlds as holograms. There were 0 negative interactions and 0 trolls, which was weird because, as I'm sure you know, VRChat is usually full of that. Meetups happened for almost every subculture, and meeting out the other furry bunnies running around was a really funny experience. Everyone had some really interesting and unique avatars, and so when I headed over to the dealer's den, I got to check out some of the ones that you could actually buy. At the full Furality conventions, things are way more fleshed out with panels and clubs, but even just this, well, there was so much going on it was almost overwhelming trying to not miss anything. But the weirdest thing I saw was on the online site. They had a web store where you could buy something called immersion spray. And obviously I had to cop it immediately. Unfortunately though, it didn't end up coming in on time despite me paying $20 for the fastest shipping, which I actually have still yet to receive. I don't even know, but I can't test it, so sorry guys. But this is really interesting for a couple of reasons, so let me elaborate a bit on why. Your brain's smell system is the olfactory bulb, and the olfactory bulb is directly connected to your amygdala and hippocampus, the hotspots for your emotions and memories. This is why if you smell a certain scent, you immediately get transported to the memories and feelings tied to that certain place or person. I've tried VR smell devices before, but those have always been focused on stuff like picking up coffee and triggering the smell of coffee to be pumped into your nose. This immersion spray, on the other hand, is something I've never seen before, which is to give Luma Festival a specific sense of place, similar to the smell of a friend's house or Spaceship Earth at Disney World. If you know, you know on that one.
What if we made like the play space, smell like an enchanted forest? It smells a little earthy, a little ethereal, a little bit sweet. For the longest time, the jacket that I was wearing while we were doing Luma still had the scent on it, and whenever I was driving to go to FWA, like I still had the smell on my jacket. I'm like,
the worlds and theming are clearly a really important aspect of these conventions, and they're unlike places I've ever seen in video games, movies, anime, or anything else. I love exploring VRChat worlds that people upload. I think there's something really special about exploring places from other people's imaginations. Seeing the concepts and time and energy that goes into this really struck me in a way I didn't expect from going to a furry con. After thinking for a bit, I got really shocked to think of how judgmental we are from the outside looking in on this.
I feel like the misconception comes from the issue of like the squeaky wheel gets the attention.
It's unfortunate that people just associate furries with, oh, they like f***ing animals or something like that, pardon the French. Furry culture in general is quite misunderstood. Prior media that has misconstrued what furry culture is like, I don't blame them, it gets clicks. I mean, you see how Twitter is these days with anything causes drama, everybody goes insane about it. And it's just that furries and their drama have stuck around a lot because a lot of the subcultures within furry communities are neurodivergent, which means there's a lot of social immaturity at times, and that tends towards lending towards drama. But there are also the most mature, friendly, insanely loving individuals. I have never felt love in my life before like I have in the furry community.
Honestly, after all of this, my perception on furries has really changed. What once seemed a bit silly now feels like a whole fun new world to be uncovered. You can really tell how passionate they are about creating unique characters and worlds, the kind of imagination and creativity that shines best inside virtual reality. I didn't expect to enjoy being one myself for a little while, but the respect I have for this community has grown by a lot. I think they might just be the most progressive designers, developers, and creatives virtual reality has to offer right now, and that's something that I think is truly spectacular. If you're interested in checking out Furality for yourself, the next convention is going to be a tropical jungle theme on June 2nd through 4th. I'm linking their socials down below so you can stay up to date and give it a chance just like I did. Please like and subscribe to support, as I have a bunch of new videos in the works about other unique aspects of VR culture and technology.
technology, and of course our monthly TVRS Studio live events. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. I've been your host PHIA, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Special thanks to this month's Patreon members and virtual VIPs: Black Amethyst, Connor Terrell, Dutchman 101, GS Genesis, Izuna Moon, James Bonds Cool, Jean-Felix Monin, Kaimis, Kaze Rio, MJR 117, NNN, Neoplasm, Nasrate, Mayor, Penny, Rise 60003333, Snake 8 Head, Cernith, Third Eye, Sali, and Yamazora. I competed in a VRChat dogfighting tournament, going from literal zero knowledge about planes to spending nearly 7 hours a day learning and training to be a virtual fighter pilot and showdown with players from all over the world. What I thought was going to be a funny video challenge ended up reshaping how I view and use social VR as a whole, and well, this rabbit hole goes a lot deeper than you'd think. I pushed my body and mind to the absolute max to explore the untold passion the aviation community has just for this video. So sit down, buckle up, and get ready for what might just be my most complex virtual adventure yet. Welcome to the Black Aces. Before we get started, I wanted to give a huge shout out to this video's sponsor, Opera GX. As a chronically online VR user, there is no better browser I can recommend than Opera. I use the web in totally different ways depending on if I'm working, streaming, playing VR, or casually browsing the web, which is why the GX Profiles option is a huge benefit to focus on what's really important at that time. Set up profile options for streamer privacy, potato moding, clearing history upon close, or customizing for as clean and little distractions as possible, which is great for classes and working without distractions. VR is taxing on PCs, and busy tabs often drain resources that you could be using. The Hot Tabs Killer feature allows you to identify and close these out for overall smoother performance. If you use Apple Music, YouTube Music, or Spotify like me, the GX player keeps them all in one place while automatically pausing and resuming for videos and audio such as YouTube. I use this all the time. On the mobile app, I use the Continue Watching on Mobile button to continue exactly where I left off with the video pickup feature by just scanning a QR code with my phone off my PC. Video pickup can also turn your device into a companion screen, which again is a really useful thing lacking in other browsers. Setting up Opera is super easy. Just download the link in the description and import your history, bookmarks, extensions, and cookies in seconds to get started immediately. Definitely check it out. But without further ado, let's start this video. Today is day one of flight training. One of the biggest things that we're going to be testing today is to see if I actually get motion sick or not, because obviously competing in a tournament and getting motion sick the entire time would not exactly be the most ideal. It is time to go join and start the training.
My name is Rico. I'm the owner of the Black Aces. We are a virtual flight community. We're the hub of all VRChat aviation. We're going to start training PHIA on how to dogfight and hopefully compete in the tournament and get a win. Well, this is the F-18 Block 3 Super Hornet, and we're going to be using this one mainly because it's very easy to fly, and we're going to see like basic maneuvers, so like rolling, pitching, if you get motion sick. If you do, I'll stop the whole flight. If you're fine, then we'll see how you feel in dogfight situations.
Whoa. Holy shit. Oh my god. This is ridiculous. It feels like I actually had a flight takeoff.
What VRChat planes kind of bring is like the ability to socialize, but also enjoy aviation and for what it is. Our role is this.
Oh wow, my vision just went black.
No,
Did I pass out?
Yeah, that's called G-force. So what that does is that pushes your blood flow down, which causes people to pass out. Pitch the stick downwards, the plane kind of does this. I'm not, you see that?
Oh
red?
yeah, now it's all
that's
red.
called redding out.
Holy cow! Dude. This is crazy, even just the sounds. Wait, what are the sirens? What are the beeps?
So we're getting to really slow airspeeds that it's pretty much telling the aircraft like you're way too slow.
That was so intense.
Oh,
I did not expect that to be so like insane. Yeah, I'm glad I haven't gotten nauseous at all, so no like real motion sickness. But I do feel very dizzy. It is crazy how realistic it feels.
what is next on the agenda then?
Probably the basis of terminology. So like, we'll go outside and I'll show you. For now, you remember your speed. So this is your airspeed. That's measured in knots. This is your throttle input. When it goes yellow, there's a thing that these jets have called afterburner, where the funny fire sticks out of the plane.
So I'm about to fly the plane for the very first time. I expect to crash probably more than once. There is a lot of terminology and a lot of things to know. It is time to get started. All right, let's go. Okay. Okay, I'm already going too fast. Okay. How am I doing? Is this... Are you happy passenger?
You see... So right where I said your knots, the magic speed for landing, I would say is around 200 for most people who are learning.
Okay.
Make sure your gears are down. Make sure your gears are down. Make sure your gears
okay.
are down.
Gear down, gear down.
There you go. We're good.
Woo!
There you go.
Wow, yay! I did my first flight and I didn't crash! Yay! I feel so proud of myself. So I just finished my first day of flying, which actually went pretty well, but I can't get too excited because all I did was take off and land, which tomorrow Rico is going to be introducing me to the actual dogfighting part, which is where things are going to get a little more serious. So I'm gonna get a good night's rest and see what happens tomorrow.
We'll try to see. Should we just like throw her straight into a dogfight and see where she stands and like ability to kill people?
Yeah, let's see where my ability to kill people is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, okay. So the end goal. This is like hopefully the goal of the whole training is to at least kill Razor once when he's trying.
Okay.
That's the end goal.
Yeah, watch out, Razor. Watch out. You might crash and die.
So we'll focus on
we'll do basics.
merging at 320 knots, turning at the right time, and then one third thing. Lift vector placement. Sounds complicated? It's really not.
Well, actually, instead of Razor, because you suck at dogfighting. There you go.
Yeah, Razor good. Alright, here we go. Alright, throttle?
He's fast. Throttle forward, turn. So turn.
Right.
As soon as you pass him, you should turn already. Watch your throttle, watch your throttle. Why do you throttle down?
I'm trying to figure out where it is.
Rudder right. Put the, oh man, I'm throwing terms again.
Okay, hold on.
He's behind this. Right.
I'm out of ammo.
Those are other dudes. Those are other dudes.
Those are other dudes? Oh god. Oh my god. Okay, oh my god, this is so fun.
Okay, well now he's... Oh, he's behind us again. He's behind us again.
Oh god. Oh. No! That is so hard.
Okay, so dumping the nose is the nose of the aircraft. So when you are stalling that,
you have a low aspect BFI.
when you pause with a turn, of course the plane is the same turn rate, but because he's traveling the two aircraft, you're still pulling the same turn.
Okay,
He's
well,
making one.
this
You're
is
going
so
way higher.
kind of.
The other guy's also making this one. He's already getting. This is actually mattering
That they're chasing each other.
Ooh, this is gonna be a lot more complicated than I expected. So there's 7 days until the tournament, and I totally underestimated the amount of knowledge that I would have to know to even just fly one of these things. But the people spending hours a day flying these planes are also the same ones who are taking the time to program them. BFM goes way deeper than I ever would have expected. So if I want to catch up and not make a total fool out of myself for this tournament, I'm gonna have to start eating, sleeping, and breathing BFM until I can get it down.
We just announced this month's tournament, which will be competing in the JAS 39 Gripen. From here on out, FIA is going to be learning how to dogfight and train consistently in the Gripen so she can get ready for this tournament.
Sheesh! This plane is beautiful. I love this jet. Holy shit. What the hell is Fox 3? So I'm starting to really familiarize myself with the new plane quite a bit, but we're also going to designate some of the day to meeting other people in the community who've been working on some really big projects outside of just dogfighting, so I can get the broader picture of VR aviation and just some of the other things that happen inside of Black Aces. Wait, so an original design, like you just straight up made up like your own plane idea?
Yeah, all the planes here are original.
It's kind of a mixture between a few of my favorite planes.
What's really special about VRChat compared to other simulators or VR games is that it really gives these people an outlet to create whatever they want and share it with others. Oh, there's a helicopter in here too.
All of these planes are publicly available.
I didn't really realize how deep all this plane creation goes with programming systems from scratch and then implementing original designs that no one would obviously have the resources to create in physical life.
This was designed by a friend of mine that is studying aeronautical engineering. This is a project that he had a long time ago. I was learning Blender as I was modeling it.
And this all's really proved the crazy bond that all of them have with each other based off of their love for aviation. Why is it blue?
This was supposed to be a memorial for someone who was like very prominent in the aviation community, like at the very early start of it, and they passed away.
I think there's something special about the presence of flying alongside other people who literally live across the planet and feeling like they're really there. Yeah, I really didn't think that I'd end up liking all of this so much.
The game was never meant to do this, but here we are.
But I still have a lot of training to do besides I'll be exploring, so here we go.
No, this is actually just live commentary.
He's in sight! They're in sight! They're in sight! Yes! Yes!
That's what we're here to learn.
Oh my god! Got him!
It seems like you're really getting the hang of this.
I feel like when people have more time to think about it, there's more people who don't show up.
Oh yeah.
Raise your fear, dogfight.
Yeah.
Hopefully the goal of the whole training is to at least kill Razor once when he's trying. Alright, let's go, Razor. Come on.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Razor, I'm really nervous.
It's okay to be nervous. Trust me. You're gonna feel the same way once you get into the tournament. I was like that when I first did mine.
Yeah, I'm extremely nervous and I really don't want to make a complete fool out of myself. Oh jeez, wow, you're crazy good. Jesus.
Not bad.
Ooh. Oh god. This is insane, what the hell? Oh, I'm shaking so bad.
Razor. That's crazy. Yeah, that's
Really? You guys think so? Thank you so much, guys, for being here and helping me. Wow, I had so much fun practicing against so many different people. I think this was really necessary. We just finished up training for the final day of training. Tomorrow is the big tournament. I'm not really sure what's gonna happen. I'm pretty nervous. I've put in hours and hours every single day practicing, and I thought it was just going to be kind of a silly, fun way to challenge myself. But I think because of VRChat and the Black Aces aviation community, I've found a new appreciation for a side of VRChat that I didn't really know existed, or at least not the full extent of it. I think at the end of the day, I've learned a lot, and I'm really proud of myself for that. Everybody has been so kind and so supportive. No matter what happens, I'm going to have a bunch of fun and hang out with all the people I've met and have support from Thrill. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So I'm crossing fingers. Wish her for the best. So it is just a few minutes before we hop into the instance for the tournament. I think I'll do okay, but even if I do really terribly and I flop, I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun, I guess. Oh my god, I'm so nervous.
I think I've seen you before. Why would you be competing in a tournament?
Why not?
That's a decent answer. So, tournament rules. What the staff say is final. The first match you lose puts you in the loser's bracket. Losing again eliminates you from the tournament. First up is Kitsune Suki and Dion621.
We're going for a no afterburner takeoff, saving that fuel. So now at this turn, Sarkin now is closing the distance. Striking doing the right thing, maintaining position, maintaining good distance and speed.
Oh,
still doing okay on fuel.
Whoa.
Yeah, crowd here is pretty rough, not gonna lie.
PHIA and 8-bit. PHIA blue, 8-bit red.
Alright, this is it. This is it.
She's been practicing a lot. I think about like a week and a half.
My heart is pounding like freaking crazy. Ah shit, I forgot to turn nameplates back on. Fuck! I could barely see them! Oh. Alright, come on! Ah! Okay. We just shoot here? Yes! Oh my god! Oh my god, I had nameplates off like an idiot.
Good
job, Oh, real life.
welcome.
Thank you. Alright, second match. Don't mess up.
Merge.
Oh god, this is already harder. I don't know if I can do my turn circle. They're so far away. Well, that was that.
Won the match, pilot. Turn to base.
You did the kill me reversal.
Yup.
When he was really far away.
You were a worthy Con-Chan opponent, if I do say so myself.
Good game.
There goes the end of my pilot career.
Come here.
And well, that's that. I still got to fight one more round in the loser's bracket, but I didn't make it past, although it was a crazy match. This tournament was technically just the qualifiers, and across 5 blocks there was just short of 120 total people who signed up. For only having a little more than a week to train, I actually feel really proud of myself for even being able to get one win. Watching the rest of these competitors really showed me how crazy these fights can get, and how dedicated these people are to pushing the limits of what VRChat and social VR is actually capable of. The finalists trained super hard, some of them studying and playing fight sims for years and still putting in hours a day training to truly earn their wins in this dogfighting tournament. I didn't expect to fly planes again after making this video, but along the way I've actually found a new hobby that I recommend everyone to at least check out once, even if you don't take it quite as seriously as I did. But anyways, if you enjoyed coming along this journey with me and want to be a part of future videos, then make sure to subscribe and like this video. This month at the TVRS Studio in VRChat, we're going to be holding a celebrity interview night with some of the most well-known VRChat creators that you actually might recognize, so join the Discord and come join us there. Also, making videos like these takes a lot of time, and so if you want to help support me being able to actually do things like this, then please consider joining my Patreon to help out. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I've been your host, PHIA, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Special thanks to this one's Patreon members.
One event that had like a shitload of people, but now
I hope y'all enjoyed the
events that
TVRS
she's
watch
doing
party.
this
It was
week,
definitely a blast to
there's like
hang out with all of y'all and watch these videos together
a
and see
decent amount of
where
people.
we all came from this wonderful community we have here. Tomorrow we're doing a open mic night, same time. It's gonna be super awesome. I'm gonna be hosting it myself. It's gonna be amazing. So if y'all are interested in that, feel free to come back tomorrow, same time, and it's gonna be a blast. So thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it, and that is the end of this event. Thank y'all.
Yay!
That was actually really good. So we spent 2 hours watching virtual reality videos inside
Inside
virtual reality.
Yeah.
That's gonna be way more fun.